Hi everyone, this is Mr. Bainey. Welcome to week 8 of the Connects You launch. What we're going to talk about this week are the habits of success. One thing that we do find is that success, according to depending on how we measure it, is not always the person who has the most money, or it's not the person who has the highest level of education. The habits of success are those people that have great self-awareness and great self-management skills. And we're going to talk about those today. All right? Habits of success are what we consider non-cognitive skills, meaning that they're not things that you intellectually know, but they're things that you learn over a lifetime. For example, self-awareness and management is knowing your emotional awareness, knowing and being able to keep that in check. And obviously, a lot of you are teenagers, and that's what you're dealing with right now, and you're learning to overcome some of those feelings, those moments of anger. It's that concept of being able to count to 10 before you respond to something, or thinking about something before you send a text or what have you. We also talk about self-advocacy, which is basically sticking up for yourself, recognizing your personal qualities, and knowing what supports are out there for you. And then the last one in self-awareness would be the self-directed learning, which we already talked about a couple of weeks ago, is learning, being a lifetime learner. Right? The other one we talk about is social awareness and interpersonal skills. And this is knowing and recognizing the feelings and perspectives of others, and being sensitive to those. Having some type of cultural competence, so knowing other people's backgrounds and being able to respect that. Being able to effectively communicate. In our situation, most of that is through text messaging, emails, and in-course messaging, so being able to effectively communicate that and not come off. And then the last one is a big one, which is conflict management, is how do we deal with difficult people? How do we deal with situations where your emotions might be kind of high? I've had, unfortunately in cyber school, I've had students that have asked me for help at 11:30 at night, and then they follow up with another email at 12:30 and say, I can't get any help. Why aren't you helping me? Well, because it's 11:30 at night, and more than likely I'm asleep. So, learning how to effectively get help and learning how to talk to people in constructive ways. And the last part is we talk about decision making, and basically being ethical and using societal factors when we make decisions, thinking about the betterment of the whole group as opposed to just ourselves, being responsible, and then also the community contribution, knowing that we are part of a community. Even though we're an online school, we are still very much part of a community. So, and it's like most things that we talk about, this is a cycle because it's never something that we're completely done with. It's constantly learning. So it's the first step of that is identifying and managing one's emotions and behaviors, recognizing those personal qualities and finding those external supports, and then demonstrating the skills related to achieving those personal or academic goals in our case. Right? Which comes, the next thing we're going to talk about is discipline, and I don't mean discipline as in getting yelled at or getting hit with a wooden spoon, but rather discipline is the whole purpose of discipline is to guide children to choose what is right and wrong through teaching and learning rather than forcing. Right? And again, we talked about this during last week, during the positive behaviors. Our goal is to have you self-disciplined, all right? And this is something that people use in athletics all the time, right? The most disciplined athletes are typically the ones that succeed. They're the ones that stay late and hit extra batting practice. They're the ones that stay late and take free throw after free throw after free throw. So they're the ones, so the self-discipline, the ones that work harder. Self-management means that you know how to tell which speed you're moving at, right? So, right in the middle we have perfect, all right? Someone that's focused, they're on pace, and they're doing good work. If you're going through and your work is speeded up or it's rushed or it's sloppy, then it's going to suffer. Unfortunately, I see way too much of this in cyber school. Too many kids are just clicking and going through, and as a result, their scores are very low. At the same token, we also have the people that are behind pace that are working too slow. So they're either distracted, they're not focused, they can't seem to get themselves motivated to get on their school and to get on the coursework and get going. So what speed are you? Where are you? And we set kind of pace charts for every kid in every class. So where are you in that, right? And it means adjusting your speed accordingly. And unfortunately, sometimes if you start out too slow, then towards the end you have to use the rushed or the sloppy, right? So it's always a best bet, no matter what you do in life, is to always go at the pace that's given, and then you can adjust from there. And the last slide I want to talk about is developing your self-discipline. And again, the very first step is define what you want. We talked about earlier in the year, always about defining your goals and setting those goals. So the first step is figuring out what you want to achieve, right? Because that discipline can only exist if you have it channeled towards something. And that specific something is a desired outcome that you have in mind. So it could be a certain grade, it could be learning how to do something, it could be forming a goal or a habit or change of some sort, all right? So my question to you for this assignment is, how do self-awareness and self-management relate to the self-directed learning cycles? And these are the things that we talked about last week. And I'll give you a little hint. Use the picture on the left to help answer this reflection question. So what I want you to do is go ahead and answer the question, how does self-awareness and self-management relate to the self-directed learning cycle? And you can just go ahead and post that in a private comment. Thank you very much, and we'll talk soon.